Good evening all. Welcome to Sociology Analytica. This is Pooja Prasanna, your Sociology faculty. So let's start with the third chapter. So today I'm going to start with third chapter. So third chapter, I'll be discussing 3 questions. The first question in this chapter is discuss the challenges involved in collecting the data through census method. It's a 10 marker question. It's a previous year question. Okay. I have specifically taken this particular question. The reason is that because whenever you study from any textbook, so you don't have the census method. What you have is observation technique is there, you have a questionnaire method is there, survey is there, but you specifically don't have census method. So the question is, ma'am, what to do? What to do if a topic comes when we don't have in the textbook, when it's not there in the syllabus? See, let me tell you something. So whenever you study, so small in both questionnaire, survey method and observation techniques, in most of the things, so we do talk about census in bits and pieces. Okay, we do talk about census in bits and pieces. So if you know what census is, what is census basically? You ask the question from door to door, from household to household, you collect the data, right? So you can think that, okay, you will be using questionnaire, that's what you will be using, isn't it? You will be using survey method and questionnaire, so both are one and the same. That is what it has been used in census. So what you have to do is, so suppose in case if a question comes where you have not studied that topic particularly, what you have to do is you have to think of all the possible topics where you have studied this particular keyword. Did you understand? So in the third chapter, we will be studying this particular topic in survey method, in questionnaire method, in some context observation method. But apart from that, we won't be studying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the content from these three, and in case if I have some current affairs, in case if I have something in current affairs, if anything is there, I'm going to take that and I'm going to write everything in one. Okay, this is how you need to tackle the question in case if you have not directly studied in the textbook. Did you understand this? Now coming to the how to write this answer. First and foremost is introduction. See, it's very simple. As the question is on census method, so please write your introduction on the census method itself. So what is census? Census is basically collecting the data, compiling it, analyzing it. Why are you doing this? Because you need to understand the economical, in order to understand the economical, socio-economical, demographical data, in order to collect all this data for your further research. So this is basically is census method, or like this is one method of collecting the data. So write that in a simple statement. Suppose let's say you don't know what thinker has told, don't know, it's okay, but you know what is census, right? Write that in simple statements. So what I've done is I have taken a very simple statement of what is census. Okay, in a layman term only I've taken. I've not taken something like a thinker perspective. Okay, a census is a total process of collecting, compiling, analyzing, or otherwise disseminating demographic, economical and social data pertaining at a specific time of all the person in a society. See, you can still further simplify it in your own words. This is a little standard definition for census. So give one definition for census. Then what you have to do is, in case if you can think of some thinker who has told something about census somewhere here or there, see, then you can actually write about that. What I'm doing is, see, we have studied survey method. It is there in our syllabus. We have studied survey method. In survey method, there are thinkers. Some thinkers are there. So I have taken Ackroyd and John Hugh. So Ackroyd and John Hugh they have not directly talked about census, but what they have talked is they have talked about factual census. It is a factual survey is a type of survey. Okay, so census is an example of factual survey. Did you understand what I'm doing here? So I've not studied census, but in survey method, what we have studied is factual survey. It is a type of survey. And example of factual survey is our census method, which is in our question. What I'm doing is, see, this is a sociology answer. You need to put some thinkers. What you have to do is think of some thinker who has talked about it and then put it here. So Ackroyd and John Hugh have talked, what they are told, that census is a type of factual survey wherein the descriptive information is usually collected. What type of data you will be collecting? You will be collecting a descriptive. That is, for example, which class you belong to, which caste you belong to, how many members are there in your family, etc., etc. Okay. I have taken one more thinker's perspective. What is that? Aldrich and Levine. Aldrich and Levine have also talked about they have also talked about survey. But in what context they have talked? They have talked survey. They have talked about census, but in the survey context. But still, I can use that in my answer. So what I have done is Aldrich and Levine have told that the same information is collected in all the cases in the sample in the census method. So suppose let's say that whatever the question in the census, so the type, what is the caste, how many members are there in your family, etc, etc. The number of questions are same in Karnataka, it is same in Tamil Nadu, it's same in Haryana, it is same everywhere. Okay, they do not change the question or whatever the information which will be collected, it will be same. So see, what I'm doing is I studied survey method. In survey method, I'm taking census, it's a subtopic, from there I'm bringing. Did you understand what I'm doing? Moving on to next. The question here is the challenges faced. Okay, so just write what is census and then move forward with the actual things whatever they have asked in this particular question. Now question is challenges involved in collecting the data through census method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jot down all the points whatever I can think of. See, before actually going into this particular topic, I also want to tell you something that, see, this particular topic, that is challenges faced by census, it was actually discussed in Rajya Sabha TV. Okay, it was actually discussed in Rajya Sabha TV. See, I keep telling that, in sociology, what happens is they do give whatever the ongoing current events. Based on that current events, they will just give a question in UPSC. See, we didn't, this year, we were supposed to conduct we were supposed to conduct census, but because of COVID and other reasons, we couldn't conduct the census. So there was a high possibility that they may give something related to census, maybe in sociology or social issues or any other general study, topic, but they would have given something on census. So it was an expected topic from any perspective to that matter, and it was actually discussed in detail in Rajya Sabha TV also. So you would be getting some good content about the census, the problems of census, and etc, etc. Fine, did you understand? So now coming to the challenges faced by census, what I have done is I have combined sociology context and some non-sociology context, like a generalized context also. So both the points I have jotted down. You can write, see, how much space is left. Based on the space left, you can write as many points as you can think of. The first is, though it offers wide coverage, but it lacks depth of coverage. Wide coverage, that is, it will collect data from lot of people, many answers, but then the depth of coverage, that is, they may say like, poverty, like, they will just tell this is our, we are BPL, below poverty line. But then they don't tell why this poverty, why have you, come to this level of poverty, what is the reason. All those things it is not covered under census. Okay, this is one problem. Next, census instrument. Questionnaire for census has to be designed carefully. Census instrument is nothing but questionnaire. Okay, see, why it has to be designed carefully? Because same questions, it has to be asked throughout India. Let's just take India as an example. And it cannot be asked in a similar way, because we have tribes, we have caste fold, we have different religions. So in a similar tone, we cannot ask. And also what happens is, people whosoever is taking census are also from different background. They can also not ask in a similar way. So you have to keep everything in mind, and then we have to design the questions. Okay, this is second problem. The next problem is given by feminists. So feminists like Michelle Stanworth. See, again, ma'am, where did you find this? See, I did not find this somewhere else randomly. What I have done is, in this chapter only, we actually study feminist perspective. In this chapter only, we study feminist perspective. In feminist perspective, we study some of the problems which is pointed by feminists regarding data collection. So from there, I have taken this point. Understand, I have not studied anywhere else. In this chapter only, I am taking the points. So I have taken point from Michelle Stanworth. What Michelle Stanworth says that, say, whenever you conduct a census, what happens is, you ask the class of the family. So whatever the husband's class will be there, wife class, so they assume that wife will also have the same class. Suppose if your husband is middle class, what they assume that wife will also be in middle class. But then technically it may not be true. If a husband is middle class, wife may be upper class also. She may be lower class also. But they don't do that. They actually assume it. So this is one problem. The next is given by interpretative school. Interpretative school is also telling the same thing, like the depth of coverage, that is the meaning and motive is not given, it's not been told, only a surface level information is collected. Okay, next, moving with further points. I'm giving many points so that you can just, use some of the points in your answer. Next is furnishing of false information. Why furnish? See, most of the time what happens is, see, if you tell that, you are BPL, below poverty line, family, household, then there is a possibility that you will be getting lot of, some governmental schemes and lot of benefits you'll be getting. Suppose if you're, let's say you're performing well, your class has improved with the time. If you tell that your class has improved, then you may lose out all the benefits. So the fear of losing benefits may make you tell or may make you give false information. This is one problem. Next, it is huge expenditure because you have to go and collect, literally you have to go door to door and collect all the information. So it requires a lot of manpower and etc. So this is one problem. The next problem is security. So nowadays, if you studied about little bits about census, so now government of India is actually, trying to, all these days it was only like, manual, they used to go door to door, but now government of India is also thinking to go digital mode of collecting the data. Okay, so when the digital mode comes, automatically there will be a breach of data. So this is one problem. Next is abuse of data, that is whosoever collects the data. Okay, whosoever collects the data. So there is a possibility, this is not a big problem, but sometimes it may become a problem. That is whosoever is the authoritative figure, they may abuse this problem for their own benefit or for any other scams, etc. Next is lack of community participation and inadequate training of enumerators. Lack of community participation. So basically, let's say that you need to collect data from a tribal people. So see, tribes just won't let anybody to come in. So they will usually be not okay for everybody to come. So what you need to do is you need to understand the tribes, and then you need to go and get the data for the census. So most of the time the community themselves will not participate. And also inadequate training. See, what happens is, so as different, India is diverse, so you cannot handle everyone in a similar way. You have to handle different community of people differently. So in order to handle them, you need to give them a proper training. Enumerators are basically the people who go and collect the census data. Okay, the last thing is ineffective census educational campaign. That's what, like, before you conduct a census, what you need to do is you need to give a good campaign. You need to give an educational campaign about the census, that we are going to take a census. See, this is the reason why we are taking census. See, why this is actually required. This you can write, in the backdrop of CAA. Okay, national, CAA and all this, NPR and all that. So people are sort of, they are hostile towards this census. They're hostile towards census. They're having this feeling that they will be left out. Certain religious people are feeling that they'll be left out. Certain region people are feeling that they might be left out. They may lose the citizenship, etc., etc. So what the government or society needs to do, they needs to give a very good educational campaign regarding census, so that people will get some confidence in order to give a actual data and not the false data. Did you understand this? So you can put some, though it is a paper one topic, you can you can get some, Indian context, and you can drop it in your examples. Okay, did you understand this? Then finally, though the asked question is about, it is about the challenges, what you can do is you can end your answer through remedial measures. See, whenever a question is asked about the challenges, don't stop with the challenge. Always try to give one or two or three remedial measures. So I have given, one is capacity building. Capacity building is basically infrastructure building or training to the enumerators. All these things needs to be taken care. Next, strengthening of data, that is minimizing coverage and content error. So that's basically, sometimes what happens, the tribes are so, they are dispersed in, wide range of area. Sometimes you don't even go and collect the data. Okay, so all these things happen. So sometimes if you feel certain community is hostile, you'll not go and collect the data. All these things, you need to reduce it. And then organizing campaigns, this is very much important. That is, you need to go for a mass media campaign or any other educational campaign in order to make sure that people don't lose hope, people don't feel hostile, people feel safe before giving the information about themselves. Okay, so that's one or two remedial measures you please give as your concluding para. Okay, did you understand? So this is again a very simple question. Only thing is, you have to think carefully. You have to think where and all you have studied, which all points you can get, and then please write it in the answer. Okay, did you all understand? I hope you understood. Even then, if you still have any queries, please drop your queries in the comment section. Okay, thank you all.